How y'all doing? Once again, it's Charles Kelly with you, and today I want to talk about diversifying your portfolio by giving you 5 easy ways to create sources of income without taking too much more of your time than you're already spending it. They say time is money, and this is true. If you have a job and you're working hourly, you get paid a certain amount per hour. If you're salary, you get paid a certain amount over a certain period of time. If you're receiving rent, typically you're getting paid every month. If you're receiving dividends, you're typically getting paid every 3 months. So time is money, but it doesn't necessarily have to be from working. It can also be passive income, such as rents, dividends, and royalties. Number one is your job, but you're already familiar with that, so we'll move on to the next one. Number two is your 401k. Most jobs will provide some type of match. You'll receive dividends, you'll receive growth money at the very end, and it doesn't take too much time out of your day to make a couple clicks to change how much you want to invest in. Young people typically want to be more risky, more stocks. As you reach closer to retirement age, you typically want to be more conservative and maybe buy a couple bonds. But that's the second way to make money as a source of income. Number three would be turning your hobby into a business. Some people get kind of nervous when they talk about that. Because they're like, oh, well, my hobby wouldn't be profitable. Well, that's okay. In the tax code, there's provisions for your first 2 years of going into business. If you take a loss, you can offset it against your wages or whatever money you're making, as well as if you have losses, in further years. As long as you're attempting to make a profit, that may be beneficial for you later down the road. And if you make a gain, I don't know anybody who's really upset with making a gain. Plus, it brings passion into your life. And, if you're worried about the business aspect to it, you can hire somebody, you can outsource that part, you can talk to other people, you can work together with other people as well. But that's the third stream of income. Number four would be through home ownership. I know many people paying lots of money in rent, and essentially there's no tax benefit from it. You can't write off the interest, you can't write off any taxes, you can't do any of that. Even like some utilities, you can't write off most of that stuff at an apartment, as well as you can't sublease it at the majority of apartments. You can't sublease, whereas with a home, you have owners. You keep ownership equity into it. So if your mortgage is $1,000, you may be keeping about 700 of that into your house, and then the rest of it, your taxes, your interest, are write-offs, as well as you can possibly rent out a room if necessary. I know a lot of people who are doing Airbnb. They'll rent out a room or something, and then they can buy furniture, they can buy TVs, they can buy different types of things. They can write it off because their house is essentially now a rental property as well. More details into that later, but that's another way to bring in another stream of income. And then number five would be, I would say, treasury bonds. These are essentially government bonds, whether state, municipal, or federal bonds. They bring back a certain amount of dollars back, not necessarily a lot, but it's stable. One of the tricks that I've learned over the years is using a credit card. So say if you get a credit card for about $10,000 credit limit, you never want to go over $3,000 because you want to make sure your credit is intact. Well, with that $3,000, you can use for bills. You can use for other types of things, and then save up $3,000 as well. Use that $3,000 to go and put into a treasury bond, state bond, municipal bond, something of that nature, and you'll receive interest back on it on the back end. The key is to make sure your bond is shorter than your interest APR, your introductory APR period on your credit card. Most of those are like 12 months or 18 months. So you can want to get a bond that's shorter than that, and then you're essentially making money off of money that you did not have. And if your credit card is a cash back card, you're making money off of using your card, as well as you're making money on the money on the bonds, as well as you're building your credit. So those are just a couple of tricks. Those are 5 different ways to make income without necessarily spending too much time. Your job, which you were going to spend that time doing anyway. Your 401k doesn't take too much time. Your hobby, which you were going to do anyway. Home ownership, which may require some adjustments. You might have to mow a lawn or two. But at the end of the day, it's very helpful, as well as number 5, through treasury bonds. Hope y'all learned something. Hope you have a good day.